Bloggers. I'm your host, Cenk Uygur. Today we got a great guest and a great topic for you. It's gas prices and the energy crisis. And the person who's going to help me with the guest of the week is our guest co-host, Jonathan Kim. He's co-producer and blogger at foxattacks.com, where they expose the right-wing propaganda and the opinion reporting that Fox News does. Jonathan, welcome to Meet the Bloggers.
Thanks for having me.
I understand we're going to talk about gas prices. Is that an issue?
I think it's more of a mental problem. It's just something that happens in my head when I go to the gas station.
Yeah, I understand it's psychological. You know who could really help us with this conversation?
I don't know, some kind of important politician?
Senate Majority Leader, maybe?
That'd be
look
great.
at that. We have the Senate Majority Leader, Harry Reid, with us. Welcome to Meet the Bloggers, Senator Reid.
Thank you very much for allowing me to be on the show.
Oh, no, we really appreciate you coming on. According to Politico, they just wrote about this, the Republican leadership has given a green light to the rank and file of Republican senators to go against their own party and to vote with the Democrats before the election so they can pretend to be moderates. Given that you have almost a carte blanche here, are you thinking of proposing new legislation, and wouldn't this be a good time to propose new legislation, including repealing that $14 billion oil subsidy that they were given out of our pockets to the oil companies?
Well, you only read part of the story in Politico. If you read further, they said they have the green light to vote on all things except energy. So energy, they're still walking the plank as they have done on everything. The reason they've given them a green light on everything except energy, that's basically all we're going to work on for the rest of this work period. They have, in lockstep, opposed us on issues so important to the American people, to lower gas prices. The thing that they voted on today that they turned down was whether we should do something about speculation. Academics, economists, and not just policy wonks, even the man that runs United Airlines, Glenn Tilton, said speculation is running the price of gasoline that you buy at the pump from up to 20 to 50% of the cost of a gallon of gasoline. But the Republicans wanted to kind of do as they do so many times, play ball with the banks, the financial interests, that they refused to support us on this, even though as part of their package they had speculation as one of the big problems facing America today. But they didn't go with the American people, they went with financial interests as they normally do.
Senator Reid, I want to do a quick follow-up on that. You know, the Politico article said that they are not going to play ball on energy or national security, but you mentioned something that's interesting. You said walk the plank. I like that way of framing it. And shouldn't we make them walk the plank? I mean, here's a $14 billion oil subsidy coming out of our pockets, going into the giant oil companies at a time when they're making record profits and they don't know what to do with it. I know you guys went after this earlier and they filibustered it. Wouldn't this be a good time to make them do it again and make a very public scene out of it?
Well, they've filibustered more than any Congress in the history of the country, by more than twofold. We're approaching 90 filibusters this last 18 months. And you're right, we have voted on more than one occasion as to whether we should take the subsidies away from these businesses who last year made $275 billion. Now, it would be different if they were investing this money in new exploration or doing something for the American people, but the vast majority of this $250 billion, they've bought their own stock. Why? Because they're not interested in making money. That's all these oil companies are interested in. They don't want to increase the supply of oil because they want to keep the price high. And as a result of that, the American people are paying up the you-know-what at the gas pump.
I do know what.
And Senator Reid, the Republicans have really been doing a big media push, obviously, in the past month, trying to convince Americans that offshore drilling is safe and environmentally friendly. We put together a video with some of their statements, and we'd like to show that to you now. If we could please roll that video.
Rita could cause significant spillage from the battered rigs off the coasts of New Orleans and Houston.
You know, that's one of the great unwritten success stories. After Katrina and Rita, these awful storms, no major spills.
We didn't have one drop of oil spilt when we had the biggest hurricane in recent history, Hurricane Katrina.
We withstood hurricanes Rita and Katrina and didn't spill a drop.
There was really no oil loss of any appreciable kind.
And there were almost no oil spills.
There wasn't a drop of oil spill.
We had no significant oil spill. The system worked.
See, now, Senator, the problem with what we just heard was that that's a total lie, because hurricanes Katrina and Rita caused 595 offshore oil spills spilling about 9 million gallons of oil and chemicals. It's on par with Exxon Valdez. So, I mean, in the face of this kind of media blitz, what are the Democrats trying to do to push back against this, especially when you have the truth on your side?
Well, I kept hoping that it would be like the thing I read when I was a kid, Pinocchio. I expected to see all these big noses out there on the Senate floor, because these are outright fabrications. We've had, and not only has oil spilled, a number of them caught fire. It was so illuminating yesterday to have Bob Menendez from New Jersey get on the Senate floor with this picture of the fire that took place during the Katrina. Big fire burning. That takes more than a drop of oil. There was significant spills. Now, what we've done is said this. We're in favor of domestic production. We think we should increase domestic production. But we have to be realistic about it. We in America have less than 3% of the oil in the world. That counts and water and all that offshore stuff, less than 3%. We use more than 25% of the oil every day. So common sense and simple math indicates you can't produce your way out of the problems. Drilling won't do it. Now, we believe that there are ways we can improve domestic production. First of all, we believe that there's areas in Alaska right now, and also in not only on land but in sea, that we don't need to change the law. That's available. The president, all he has to do is sign a little note to the Secretary of Interior saying, go ahead and lease some of that land. They don't want more land. This is all part of a public relations gig that John McCain, who obviously couldn't go out and look at the oil derricks in the Gulf yesterday because there was a big oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, some 150,000 barrels. It kind of messed up his trip. But the situation is this. Less than 2 years ago, we participated in increasing the amount of areas that they can drill in the Gulf of Mexico, which they say is the greatest place in the world. We gave them 8.3 million acres less than 2 years ago. And you know what? In that period of time, the oil companies haven't stuck one finger in that water. They haven't gone fishing out there, and they certainly haven't put any oil derricks out there. And they can't. Because you read Time magazine this week, it takes from 10 to 15 years, if they decided they wanted to go offshore right now, any place in the world, 10 to 15 years before they could get a drop of oil. And it would, if they decided, for example, equipment, they're more than 2 years backlogged on equipment and have to come from overseas. So this is all a phony issue. They have 68 million acres they can drill on right today.